Hey horror fam, I'm Poltergeist Steve and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about Scream 6. Let's get started.
They're here.
So I've been thinking for the last month or so since Scream 2022 dropped, what would Sidney's role be in a possible Scream 6? Well, we already know Scream 6 is happening, and we now know that Neve Campbell's been approached to return as Sidney Prescott. She has said that she's going to read the script and see what happens. I'm paraphrasing. But I've been thinking, like, what could Sidney's role be? I have a few ideas. So, where we leave off, and full spoilers ahead, if it's not obvious, uh, this video will contain spoilers for Scream 2022. So, that being said, where Scream 2022 has left us off, we have Sam, Tara, Mindy, Chad, Gail, and Sidney are our six survivors of the Scream franchise. Now, the story has shifted, right? The motives, the mystery, the plot doesn't center around Sidney Prescott. Her story with her mom Maureen ended in Scream 3. We had our remake with Scream 4 with her cousin Joe. And now, Sidney and Gail have kind of been not relegated to the sidelines, but it's not their story anymore. The torch has been passed. So, how do we get them involved? So, without, not to quote Richie, but, Sidney has been in these for so long that you have to kill her off. No, I don't think you have to do that. I think there's a smarter way to approach. Last year, I was happy enough to read a book by Grady Hendrix called The Final Girl Support Group. And I think without pulling too much from this novel, because, not a fan of just copying ideas, I think there's a lot of interesting aspects here, right? Because at the end of Scream 2022, we have essentially two new final girls in Tara and Sam. Mindy may be included, and Chad, a final boy, maybe. We'll see what happens with them in Scream 6. But I can see a scenario where Sidney and Gail are there as mentors and sources of support for Tara and Sam to process this trauma that they all have gone through collectively. Now, we'll see how far the time jump is between 5 and 6. Does it take place immediately? My guess is it'll probably be about a year. About. Scream 1 and 2 had a 2-year jump, and I think 2 and 3 had a 3-year jump. So something similar might happen here. But I can see where, Sam and Tara are kind of going about their lives. Maybe Tara's in school, Sam lives nearby just to be close to her sister, and they see Sidney once in a while. Maybe they hit her up on the phone, maybe they're, talking on FaceTime, maybe they live close, maybe they stay in California and they meet up with Sidney and possibly Gail for coffee, and we essentially have a final girl support group. Because you'd have to have a real reason, motivation for Sidney to return. She had a perfect motivation in Scream 2022. I think Radio Silence did a great job because, killing off Dewey was that kind of final straw in that scenario to bring her back. Gail was going because Dewey texted, and Gail needed that scoop as well. And she wanted to make sure that Dewey was okay. So Gail had a reason to go. They were married, for Christ's sake, so of course she'd go. Now, for Sidney, they're friends. She loves and cares about Dewey and Gail, but she wasn't going to run immediately. She thought, hey, I assumed that, Sidney felt like, hey, Dewey, she thought Dewey was still in the Woodsboro department. He's got this. He's survived this 4 times. He'll be okay. With his death, she was brought back into the fold. Now, I don't think the full picture's over here. I think Radio Silence has pre-planned whatever this new story is going to be. And where we see Sam at the end of Scream 2022, she's in a tough spot. Sure, she killed Richie, she overcame the ghost faces, but she clearly is struggling, right? We see the shot at the end where she continues to hallucinate and see Billy. So there's a struggle there, and she's going to need support. And between 2022 and Scream 6, or whatever they call it, she'll probably be in therapy. But Sidney has crisis counseling experience. We know that. So certainly through her experience would be able to help Sam and Tara as well. And it'd be great to see that bond between the four women. And I think whatever happens, motivation wise for these new killings, right? If Tara and Sam are in danger, I think this bond that they formed in Scream 2022 is enough to motivate Sidney and Gail to come back. Now, I know Sidney was my titular character here in this video, but I think this also goes for Gail as well. I think, between losing Dewey and fighting alongside Sam and Tara, that these four are inextricably bonded. So it'd be interesting to see where this goes. So that's how I think that Sidney will be involved. Either a mentorship kind of role or just to be a support for these girls. So whether or not the mystery actually revolves around Sidney, which I don't think it will. I think it's going to firmly involve Tara and Sam. But kind of peripherally, it does involve Sidney, right? Because Sam is Billy Loomis's daughter, right? Billy tried to kill Sid. That is a huge part of her story. So whether or not the motive is to attack Sidney, maybe Ghostface is using Sidney to get to Sam and Tara, or vice versa, right? But they are connected through this shared trauma. So there's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys real soon.